In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
You ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
And I inhale. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Tonight, 2 Venezuelan migrants are under arrest in Houston, charged with murdering 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray.
He took away my firstborn. I was a teen mom. She's who helped me grow, mature.
Immigration authorities say the suspects crossed the border illegally earlier this year and were released into the U.S. by the Border Patrol. Police say the men strangled Jocelyn and dumped her body in a creek. Her mother is devastated. Just days ago, another undocumented immigrant from Ecuador was arrested in New York City, accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in broad daylight.
More like an open border, an illegal immigrant now accused of killing a mother and son while driving drunk, and he had already been deported multiple times before his latest arrest.
Texas have captured the illegal immigrant who killed 5 people, including a 9-year-old child. Fox News' Kevin Cork has the latest on this story. Kevin, what can you tell us? We've been following this.
You're right. You and I have been talking about this, Lawrence, and we're just following the latest information that we've just received. Francisco Oropesa, 38-year-old Mexican national who has allegedly killed 5 of his former Texas neighbors. He apparently was out shooting a weapon, being very loud and belligerent, apparently drinking. The neighbors went outside and asked him to stop shooting that weapon. He then, in turn, took his AR-15 and allegedly slaughtered a family of 5, including a 9-year-old boy.
Okaloosa County Sheriff Eric Aden speaking out tonight following the second arrest in as many months of illegal aliens accused of committing sex crimes on teenage girls. These are 2 separate cases. In both instances, the suspects deported only to come back. DNA also helping lead to both arrests. Tonight, both remain in the Okaloosa County Jail with immigration holds.
Life on the spectrum had brought challenges for Kayla Hamilton. But a new job in Aberdeen had brought new hope to the 20-year-old from Virginia when tragedy struck in July of last year. Her boyfriend discovered her body in their mobile home at the Rancho Estate.
It's been for me many sleepless nights. I've never thought I would take this journey on losing my daughter in such a horrific way and so soon.
Months later, investigators have matched DNA found at the scene to a suspect who has now been arrested and is being held at the Harford County Detention Center with no bail.
It was a 17-year-old male that is an undocumented person in the United States from El Salvador, and also it was determined through investigation they had ties to MS-13.
How many lives were lost due to fentanyl poisoning? I also have a son, Rayvon, who got a hold of some bad cocaine that was laced with fentanyl. So I have 2 sons dead in the grave in less than 3 years. Hassan murdered, Rayvon, fentanyl poisoning. These are real issues. I'm a real person. I go to work every single day, and I can't even afford to pay rent, or I have to make a decision to pay rent or buy food. I look at my refrigerator right now, my refrigerator is empty because I decided to do my laundry. Then we have the illegals flooding our borders, coming into our communities, sucking up the resources that we barely have.
With a record number of migrants crossing into the U.S., pushing resources to the limit in many American cities. Now hospitals are sounding the alarm, saying they're also overwhelmed, including some far from the border. Julia Ainsley has our report.
Tonight, the border crisis surging. Officials telling NBC News there were over 200,000 illegal crossings at the southern border last month, and a record 3 million migrants crossed the border in the last year. Now, a new warning 1,000 miles away in New York City, where officials tell us resources are overwhelmed. Across public hospitals in New York City over the last year, nearly 30,000 visits by migrants and 300 new babies born to migrant moms. And most of the visits to the taxpayer-funded legal clinic here are by migrants.
Our clinics are full, and there are waiting lists, and people are turning people away or referring them to other places.
Randy Redkin from New York's Legal Assistance Group says so many migrants are asking for legal help on asylum representation and health care access. Now, she says, American citizens who need legal assistance with issues like eviction and insurance have to wait up to 10 weeks.
Do you plan to visit the border?
Not today.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
This is going to be a humbling thing I'm about to share with you. If someone is 18 years old today, they were born in 2005.
I love Gen Z. I love Gen Z. It will be a humbling moment for some of us to realize that anyone who is 18 now was born in 2005.
I love Gen Z. I love Gen Z. So think about this. Okay, first of all, it's going to be humbling for many of us when you remember or realize that someone who is 18 now was born in 2005.
I have to tell you, I love Gen Z. Yes, I know, but I love Gen Z. And it will be a humbling fact to many of us when we realize that anyone who is 18 today, they were born in 2005. What's the other thing we know about this population? And it's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. To see the moment in time in which we exist. During Women's History Month, we celebrate and we honor the women who made history, the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be, unburdened by who we have been. In a healthy way, that we will encourage moderation and that we will be educated about the effect of our eating habits on our environment. And we have to do a much better job of that, and the government has to do a much better job of that.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, you love cheeseburgers. I mean, we all do. I don't know whether
you know, from time to
try
time,
the Beyond Burger, the Impossible
yes.
Burger, right? They try, but it's not quite the same. That's my personal opinion. But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
The food pyramid. What people
yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.